For today's pre-tournament press conference, we welcome Tony Gustavsson, Head Coach Australia, Mark Torcaso, Head Coach Philippines, Miriam Azmoon, Head Coach Iran, and Chan Hui-Ming, Head Coach Chinese Taipei. The first question to be answered by each of the head coach, and we'll start with Chinese Taipei and move down the line, is an opening statement from each of you.
Good afternoon. My name is Chan Hui-Ming. You can call me Chan, which is like all the Chinese, we have the family name in front, right? So Chan is my family name. First, we are very grateful to be in Perth. For me, also the first time in Perth. We can see the good city with good person. Of course, we enjoy the weather here. And also we are looking forward for those competitive opponents because you can see we can have some World Cup participants. So we're really looking forward to the game, and we hope all the teams, all the best, and also thanks for the hospitality here. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Mariam. I'm head coach national team. I'm so happy that I'm here. من خیلی خوشحالم که تونستیم از یک مرحله سخت عبور کنیم و به استرالیا برسیم. استرالیا وقتی میزبان جام جهانی شد واقعاً نشون داد که میزبان بزرگترین رویداد فوتبالی جهان زنان شد و اتفاقاتی که افتاد نشون داد که چقدر فوتبال زنان پیشرفت کرده. به نظر من فوتبال یک ورزش نیست، یک رویداد اجتماعیه، چون همه ما که اینجا هستیم یا توی جام جهانی به دور از هر نژاد، هر کشور و هر دینی که داریم و یا عقیده‌ای که داریم در کنار هم لذت میبریم از فوتبال. فوتبال زنان خیلی پیشرفت کرده و چه به لحاظ تکنیکی، تاکتیکی و اون سرعت بازی، من فکر میکنم توی استرالیا تماشاگرانی که اومدن بازی رو دیدن و اونایی که از تمام دنیا به صورت از تلویزیون داشتن بازی ها رو نگاه میکردن واقعا لذت بردن. من تبریک میگم به همه اونهایی که توی فوتبال زنان دارن فعالیت میکنن، به خصوص زنان که پیروز این ماجرا بودن. شاید در ابتدا خیلیا فکر میکردن فوتبال یک ورزش مردانه است، اما زنان نشون دادن که خیلی خوب میتونن از پسش بر بیان. من تبریک میگم به همه و واقعا ممنونم از کشور استرالیا که میزبان ما بود. امیدوارم که توی این چند روز بتونیم واقعا من و بازیکنانم یه عملکرد خیلی خوبی داشته باشیم و یه تجربه خیلی خوبی از این بازی ها برای کشور خودمون برمقام بیاریم.
I'm so happy that Iran team can pass through the previous qualification round, which was so hard for us, match against Myanmar. So we are so happy that we can reach to Australia, to this tournament, to the second qualification round. And Australia as a host of the World Cup, that was the greatest event in the world for women, shows that how women football has developed through the world, and football keep all nations and all countries together, and so show the unity of the all national nations all together in one place, despite our religions and politics and everything. So I think that football is a social event. And it's not just a sportive event, it's just social events. It can make all nations close together. So I really enjoyed watching the matches in the World Cup, and it shows how great is women football in the world and how developed women football through the world. And it proves that women can do whatever they can. And it also proves that football is not unisex, it's not for just men. And it shows that women can do whatever they want. And I congratulate Australia Football Association and Australia to be the host of the World Cup, which was so great for women. And I hope and thank you very much for hosting this competition. And I hope that me and my team can show a very good performance at this tournament.
G'day, Mark Torcazo, Philippines coach. That was very well said, by the way. Thank you very much for that. I just want to also acknowledge the great work that Football Australia and obviously Tony and the team did in regards to bringing the game of some importance to Australia. More importantly, that's big for our country. And now with this role that I have here with the Philippines, it's also my job to do the same for that country. So thanks for welcoming us here in Perth. We're really looking forward to a tournament to play against some very good opposition, obviously. And the girls, our girls are ready to go, and I know that they're really enjoying the sun and a little bit of cold weather in the morning as well. But we're really looking forward to it, and it's great to be here with all these countries to represent us in the Olympics, hopefully at some point.
Thanks for that. I want to welcome all the coaches and the teams as well to Australia. So happy to have you here. Because this is the first time I'm really in front of media after the World Cup, I just want to do a little bit short summary. I spent 9 months analyzing the World Cup, and you can imagine a coach want to be on the field working with players, talking to coaches and analyzing. I'm sick and tired of that now. I want to work with the players, so we need to be out on the field. But some of the takeaways that we took away from the World Cup, football specific, is that in terms of our pressing game, we were one of the most efficient teams in the World Cup in terms of pressing efficiency. And that was one of the key reasons why we went as far as we did. But in terms of the regain, meaning when we lost the ball and win it back, we were not as good as the other top teams. So we need to improve in that direct pressing game. The stats show that very clearly. So in organized pressing, we were one of the top teams in the world. But in terms of winning the ball back, that's one of the improvement areas, something that we're going to bring into this tournament moving forward as an improvement area. When it comes to the attacking side of the game, you've heard me say that before. We want to play a fast attack, breaking lines, getting in behind. And if you look at the stats, we were one of the best teams in the World Cup at breaking the last line of defense, meaning getting in behind, the efficiency of getting in behind the opposition's defense. We were one of the top teams statistically in the World Cup. But again, improvement area in terms of getting in behind the forwards and midfield line, playing through, we were not good at all. So that's another improvement area that we really need to get better at. So that's 2 positives and 2 improvement areas that we have identified moving forward. And hopefully you see some improvement of that already in this tournament, but there's going to be very challenging opposition that is very compact in the defense, and we experienced that before. We saw it against Ireland in the World Cup, we saw it against Nigeria, where you all can agree that we struggled at times. And we hope to improve in that area. That's on the football side of things. When it comes to the roster and the evaluation of that in the World Cup going into an Olympic cycle, I'm really, really excited for some new players coming into camp now. That is well deserved. Amy Sawyer missed out on that small of a margin to a World Cup roster, and that sparked something in her. She's been fantastic in Kristianstad in Sweden, and is a well-deserved selection for this camp. She looked really, really good at training today as well. So I think you're going to see some playing time for her if she performs the way she's done in club and in trainings. And when it comes to Charlotte Rule, that's, again, the investment that we've done in the U23 space. We've had plenty of camps now with Mel and Andrea, done a phenomenal job in terms of introducing them to our tactics, our principles, what's demanded in international level. For the first time, we brought them international to Europe to play some friendlies. And Charlotte Rule have been one of the standouts in that space, and that's why it's well deserved for her to be in here as well. And finally, what I want to say is this is a big challenge, this tournament. We have not been together for 9 weeks, and today was the first day I had the team together. So we've had 1 training session going into this tournament with jet lag and all that. That's probably the same challenge for all of us. And that means I think maybe initially in this tournament that there can be some rusty performances. I'm going to be honest, I think that can influence because there's a lot of players arriving late and then have only 1 training session and try to get everyone on the same page. And then with 3 games in short concession, it also means that we're going to rotate a lot in the roster because of the physicality and the well-being and the protection of the players. So don't be surprised if you're going to see much more rotation in the roster this tournament than you did in the World Cup.
Thank you so much to all of the head coaches. You can please raise your hand to ask a question. We will come to you as we get to it, and wait for the microphone from Beck. Start over here with Chris, and then followed by Emma.
Yep. Just to hear, Tony, Ezra from Channel 9 News, just to hear that all 3 matches are sold out when years ago Matildas in Perth got 7,000 or 8,000 to go to 100,000 across the 3 matches. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel really happy for everyone that have paved the way before this moment, like all the generations before that have paved the way, all the hard work that's done over decades to be where we are today. Makes me happy for all those people. Makes me proud to be a small part of something much bigger than football. We said it from day one going into that World Cup that this team's legacy 23 and beyond was more than the results. And I think the interest in the team and the support in this nation now when it comes to this team and women's football is one of the success. When you measure success, it's not just about results, it's also that. So I want to thank everyone that supported us through the World Cup. Thanks for the way you welcomed us these few days that we've been here so far, but also for the support you're going to give us through the games. It's amazing.
Does today's heat force you to do a lighter session on the track?
Yes, it did. And probably if it's that, if that heat, it's also affecting the game, it might be part of a game plan as well when you need to adjust on it. Do you need to put the brake on the ball at times and rest with the ball? And when do you amp up the tempo? And how do you use set plays and breaks and such? Because it does influence performance. It does. And then when you have 10 players training today that arrived last night with jet lag. So today's session was a very different training session, match day -1, where you try to paint the picture tactically and get things done, but mentally and physically there's very little you can do. So most of the preparation happens in meeting settings like this, and then you transfer that onto the park.
Emma.
Hey Tony, how you doing? Welcome back. Sorry to start with this one, but just because you were talking about moving forward and looking at the Olympics and all sorts of things, the US women's national team is still looking for a coach. There was a lot of talk about whether or not your hat was in the ring back then, and Jill Ellis said some very kind words about you and said you'd be a great fit. Just wanted to confirm, are you going to be sticking around here until the end of your contract?
Well, it's a fair question, right? Same question as we had the last day of the World Cup, and now it's the first time I front the media sense, so it's a good follow-up. No, you're professional. I appreciate that. What I've said then and say now, this is my full focus. I love working with this team. I have 1 year left on my contract, and we know, all coaches know here, that we're never better than our last game. If we underperform in this tournament, all of a sudden I'm probably a very bad coach, and not many people are going to talk about it. And when we had a great World Cup, I'm just proud to be talked about for a job like that. It's one of the biggest jobs in the world in terms of the finance and the interest and all that. But this, for me, is also the biggest job in the world, working with this team. Look at what we've done. And I've said that in the World Cup. What we did in the World Cup was not the end of something. It was the start of something. But I was also clear then, and I want to be clear now, I want to see investment. For me to be motivated to stay as well, we can't be complacent and think we're done now. This is the start and the platform, and now I want to see investment.
Will.
Tony, a few of your players, life has changed from the start of the World Cup being unknown largely in Australia to, becoming rock stars. Basically, some of the most famous, people in the country. Is that a challenge for any? I'm thinking of the Hayley Rassos and Mackenzie Arnold, who are now so well known. Is that a challenge at all for them to step into that new existence, if you know what I mean?
I think it could be if it wasn't for the fact that they have the best role model right next to them. Because for Sam Kerr, it's not new, and they've seen how Sam Kerr have handled it over the years, staying with both feet on the ground, being authentic and true to who she is. And this team have such strong core values of what they are about, that even if, there's noise outside and there's interest, I don't think their head are going to blow up too big and the egos are going to carry them away. I think they're going to stay focused on the task, on leaving the jersey better than they found it. It's going to be noise and disturbance in that sense, yes, and a challenge, but I think the fact that they have such strong core values of who they are, I think is going to help in that process. But then it's my job as a coach as well to say, hey, when we get into camp now and we have 1 day to prepare, it's what we do in the meetings and the pitch that matters, and maybe not so much what we do on social media.
I'll take a question from Neil, and then we'll take a couple of questions for the other head coaches before we come back.
Actually, this one is for Mark. So,
thank you, Neil.
Mark, welcome back to Perth, mate. It's second trip in 2 weeks, isn't it? Because of that trip with a club side, and you're now back with an international team, and this is your first major tournament, what are you seeing as the biggest differences between being a coach for an international team as opposed to being a club coach?
I think it's the short turnaround of your preparation. As Tony was saying, you might only get access to the players for 2 or 3 days, and then you've got very, very limited time to do what you need to do. So I think with club side, obviously you've got the whole season to prepare them for. With these tournaments, it's a couple of games. We were lucky enough to have the opportunity to attend the Asian Games a couple of weeks ago, and we had a bit of a rehearsal there as to how things would look in the short preparation times. So yeah, it's effectively just, I guess, trying to get as much as you can done in the short period of time, and just making sure that all the players are as fresh as possible, but also utilising your full squad as best as you can.
Yep. Okay, Justin.
Hi Tony, it's Justin here from AAP. I just wanted to ask what your plans are for Sam Kerr, because no doubt the fans would love to see a full 90 minutes across the 3 games, but what's doable in your eyes?
Please tell me, Tony, what your plans are with Sam Kerr, mate.
All of you want to know that, right?
Please tell me.
I'm not going to play a centre-back, I tell you that. Now, I think all of us would love to play Sam Kerr 90 minutes every game. He would love to play in front of friends and family and kind of say thank you to everything. I would love to play 90 minutes. I think everyone watching the game would love to see a 90 minutes. But we also need to look at it as we always said we want to have a healthy, high-performance culture in here with the player-centric approach. Considering she's coming back from injury very recently, she hasn't played 90 minutes in a very, very, very long time. Not for club either, with that calf issue coming back. We really need to be extremely mindful, and as I did in the World Cup, and I said it plenty of time, I'm going to go by recommendation with my SM team that are experts in this field, and they work very, very closely with Chelsea as well, because it's the total load over time, and we all want Sam to be in form and play as many minutes as possible for both club and country. I think we can expect to see some rotation in this tournament, so we don't overload her with minutes. And then it's up to me to know when do I get maximum out of those minutes that she has. Is it starting, taking her off? Is it having her on the bench, taking her on? And how do I plan those 3 games over time?
Have we got any questions for Chinese Taipei or Iran? Or I'll ask. Coach from Chinese Taipei, Chan, what are your hopes for this tournament for your team in terms of the style of play, but also looking to progress to that round 3?
There will be some expectations in this tournament. First is talking about inside the pitch. Of course, we know that Australia is super strong. So in the rules of the qualifiers, we may have the second positions to qualify. So that will be very competitive between us, right? So we are also fighting for this. So this is what we expect from inside the pitch. Of course, tomorrow is a very important game because last time when Chinese Taipei played with Philippines is a close game. At that moment, Mark and me is not the coach, but the result is penalty shootout. So tomorrow game will be interesting. But for me, I would like to express a little bit more about outside of the pitch. Because football is in Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei is one of the earliest place to develop women football. I don't know whether you know. But unluckily, after a couple of decades, not decades, but a lot of years, we are still not developed football as the most popular sports. And then we can see how the development in Australia from maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, football in Australia maybe is not the most, like, you won't have this kind of numbers of fans, isn't it, right? If as I know, right? Maybe other sports, rugby, Aussie football, right? So I would like my players to get this opportunity to open their eyes, to set up their visions, to set up their ambitions that the football world is so big. Because my girls, their life is simple, but also their vision for me is a little bit limited. So I hope in this tournament, they will see the women football is like blooming, growing in Australia or over the world, and they can have the chance to play in front of thousands of spectators make them proud, make them thinking playing football is a dream of every football player, of every football lovers as a national team player. And I would like to also get this chance to hope if there is any club in Australia, if you think the players from Chinese Taipei maybe they can have a little bit potentials to play in your league, just try to take a look. Because our league, our local league development is not yet as professional as like Australia or in Europe. So I would like to have these hopes or these expectations, because result of course is short term, but development is long term. And we, for me as a coach, I would like the girls have more chance to explore, to outgo, to travel abroad, and to make the ambitious inside their mind. So this is what I expect from this tournament. Thank you.
Coach Chan, just one quick question. Chinese Taipei went close to qualifying for the World Cup, went to the playoffs at the Asian Cup and just lost narrowly to Vietnam. How do you think your team has improved in that time frame since January 2022?
I have started my coaching job here since this May. As you said, I find that before some of the player is struggling because they have 3 chances to qualify in the World Cup first, lost to Philippines in the shootout, and then this is the first chance because if they win, they will qualify, and then lost to Vietnam and also lose another chance, and then they fly to play against Paraguay and then also lose. So that's why they missed 3 chances. And then the girls are struggling around. They have a big influence or big impact on their mind. But I told them, no, football, you can just look forward. Every player or coaches will have good moments or bad moments, right? So of course for Philippines, they are different Philippines because they're going through the World Cup. I can see the performance in the World Cup. They get a win in the World Cup, and then also a good coach, experienced coach now. So for us, it's a new game, and I don't want them to always struggling about the experience, the bad experience amongst the last World Cup. We need to move forward, and then we also select a lot of new players, young players, that they need to looking forward to the next generation, to the next era. So that's why I try not to mention a lot about the World Cup to my players.
Thank you, Coach. Ash.
This is for Mariam and then also Tony as well to sort of answer, so I don't hope that you can be able to interpret. But there's a history actually of Iran on the men's side of things upsetting the Socceroos' hopes for qualification at the World Cup. Do the girls feel as though, as the underdogs, that they've got the capabilities of taking on a higher ranked Australia in this qualifier?
چجوری فکر می‌کنی از پسش برمی‌آیین واسه تیم خیلی قوی بازی بکنید؟
خب همه شاهد بودیم که توی جام جهانی واقعا شاید پیش بینی میشد که کشورهای مثل امریکا، آلمان یا ژاپن بیان توی رده‌های بالا، اما واقعا اینطور نشد و هیچ وقت توی فوتبال نمیشه پیش بینی کنیم که از قبل چه اتفاقی میفته. دقیقاً جام جهانی بانوان هم همین اتفاق افتاد و شاید کمتر کسی فکر میکرد که تیم 4م بشه، تیم کامرون فکر کنم، تیم مراکش که 4م دنیا شد. ما میدونیم با چه تیم هایی قرار بازی کنیم. خب استرالیا حتی شانس اینو داشت که به فاینال مسابقات هم بره، واقعا عملکرد خیلی خوبی داشتن و باعث افتخار منه که به عنوان مربی و همچون بازیکنانم که جلوی تیم 4م دنیا قرار هست فوتبال بازی کنیم و این مطمئناً خیلی کمک میکنه به ما که بتونیم پیشرفت کنیم، بتونیم یاد بگیریم. واقعا اومدیم اینجا که با فوتبال روز دنیا از نزدیک آشنا بشیم، چه جایی که قرار هست تو اون استادیوم بازی کنیم. شاید برای بازیکنان من اولین بار هست که توی یک استادیومی که پر از تماشاگر هست قرار هست بازی کنن و براشون خیلی واقعا شگفت زده هستن همه. اما خب ما هم سازماندهی داریم و برنامه ریزی کردیم برای هر 3 تا بازی. میدونیم فیلیپین هم توی جام جهانی بوده و تیم بسیار قویه، برایش خیلی احترام قائلیم، درسته، و چون تو جام جهانی بوده 100% با یک آمادگی خیلی بالایی الان اینجا حضور داره. همینطور چین تایپه که همیشه تیم خوب و سخت کوشی هستن، سرعت خوبی دارن و بازیکنانشون خیلی انگیزه دارن. مطمئنم توی این مسابقات که بتونن، حالا با توجه به اینکه قبل از اون نتونستن تو جام جهانی باشن، الان بتونن اینجا نتیجه خوبی بگیرن. ما هم با برنامه اومدیم اینجا و میدونیم کار بسیار سختی داریم و اما فوتبال ایران در حال رشد هست و ما هم اومدیم اینجا، هم خودم هم کادر فنیم و هم بازیکنانم یه عملکرد خیلی خوبی از خودمون به جا بذاریم و اونهایی که تو ایران هستن و بازی‌های ما رو دنبال میکنن، چه مربیای باشگاهی، چه بازیکن‌ها و چه خانواده هامون و چه همه مسئولینی که دارن نگاه میکنن، امیدوارشون کنیم که بیشتر از ما حمایت کنن و نشون بدیم که میتونیم روز به روز پیشرفت کنیم و بهتر از قبل باشیم.
Okay. He said that football is not predictable. Nobody think that Morocco would be the fourth place at a World Cup, so it has happened. So it's not predictable, but we know that we have to play very hard with very strong teams, and we know that it's very hard for us to play, but we are here to learn and to update our knowledge. I think that our players also in a full capacity has never been played in a full capacity stadium. So I think they would be so excited to see the full capacity stadium here for the first step. And but everything is new for us, new experience for us. But it really helps us to upgrade our knowledge because we are playing with top teams in Asia. And our aim is to upgrade our knowledge, to develop and promote our team. For sure, we have some organization in planning. We watch the match of the teams. We know that we respect Philippines also as well because they have very high performance, so they are very well. We knew that they will really well played at this tournament because they have very good performance, and also for Chinese Taipei that always are speedy and very well experienced, and we know that the players have very high motivation to win the match. We know that we have very hard job ahead, but I want you to know that if women football is underdeveloped, and we are here to, me and my teammates and also my players, we would like to have very good performance in this match. And you have to know that all Iranian families, players and club coaches who watch these matches, we would like to give them hope that they can do their best, we can reach to this level, and we hope to, with these steps, step by step, we can develop women football in Iran and be some top-level Asian, to be as a part of top-level Asian teams. But we know that we have very hard works to do. But to be here as an Iran national team is a very, very good opportunity for a team and also for our country and for women football players in Iran.
Do you mind just commenting on that, how you manage an underdog team, especially Iran first up?
I think looking back to the World Cup, when you saw some of the so-called upsets in terms of lower-ranked teams performing really well, you saw our performance in the Asian Cup as well against similar teams. The development of football, if you look at all these 3 teams, the scouting job that our analysts and ourselves have done is that they're very well organized, they're very well structured. But the other thing that I think stands out that I'm impressed with is the technical ability. If you look at the technical ability on the ball, if you give them time and space, all three teams are very good on the ball. And coming back a little bit to our improvement area about the regain and the pressing, if we're not compact and do that together and is aggressive, all these three teams can hurt us with the ball because of the technique, and especially in small spaces with the turns and the passing game. I think that's going to be one of the number one challenges for us. And the other one is that they're not going to give us much space. And normally we need space to be successful. So that's going to be another challenge for us to unlock teams and create the space we need to get in behind.
Sorry, guys, we've only got time for 2 more questions. So we'll go to the back to Crystal on behalf of SPS, and then we'll finish with Adrian at the front here.
This is a question for Chan on behalf of SBS. So half of your team are Indigenous. What kind of influence do Indigenous players bring to the squad?
Well, I think in the country, same as a lot of country, the country is mix of different natures of peoples. Some of them in Taiwan, in Chinese Taipei, some of them are like indigenous people. Some of them are immigrants from China, also with other countries of people. But I think they're living really like harmony or integrity with others. But for my understanding, those indigenous peoples, some of them are still quite like tough in their life, hardworking. So, as I said, football is not really popular in Taiwan, but I want to make this tournament as an opportunity for the indigenous people, for their family, know that, oh, if their children can represent the nations to play, it's a plow. It's a plow for the whole country. And then this is a great impact on the peoples. I think it's not only about indigenous, it's all the peoples live in Taiwan. Is if you encourage your children to play football, fight for their dream, and then you will get the chance to play in front of thousands of people in all over the world, and also at least you can earn a living. And I would like to make this opportunity to let the country know that football is not like only a recreation, but it's like football can be alive.
Adrian.
Mark, I just wondered at your reaction once you heard the game had been moved to the bigger stadium, and now that it's been sold out and you'll be in front of 60,000 people. Were you happy with that? Are you excited? Were you overawed? What's your feeling?
It was good because there was a few more tickets to get my family over from Melbourne too, so it was good from that perspective. But I think, as I said before, it's just a testament to what our country's done in the last 6 to 12 months, and the national team has done for these people to get as many people to the games as possible. So, you know, for Perth to open that up to play at that stadium, that main stadium, you know, it's just more opportunity for more young girls to come and watch the game and be influenced by not just the Matildas, but every team that's going to be there. So, yeah, very excited, 100% excited for that. But it was a little bit overwhelming initially, but some of our girls at the Philippines had the experience of playing Japan only a couple of weeks ago in front of 40,000 in the Asian Games. So from that perspective, preparation for us, that was a good preparation, but I'm really looking forward to playing out there on Sunday.
Thanks, Mark. And the final question to Alireza.
Hi, Tony. My question is going to you. It's Alireza Mohebi from Iran International TV. I just want to mention that my question is not political at the end. You will playing with a team that all of its players must wear the mandatory hijab during practice and matches. Some believe this puts Iranian player under more physical pressure than your team players and the other teams in this group, especially about the weather conditions. As Australia head coach in terms of sports and soccer, how do you think that this issue affects the Iranian player performance on pitch and tomorrow's game's overall quality?
Say that again, summarize it, please.
Just about the Iranian player comes with the mandatory hijab during the match with you and the Philippine and China.
Oh, and then the
Taipei.
heat and how that.
Yes, I just want to know that how this one do you think as an Australian head coach will affect the performance of the player and overall of the quality of your tomorrow's match?
I wish I had my sports science next to me now that know all about climate and heat acclimation and performance. I'm not expert in that field, so I shouldn't try to speculate on that.